Tom's going to be the first. You guys are going to be the first group up for recognition.
Okay.
I'm going to invite you guys.
Thank you.
We all here. Is Ms. Wu coming in? Tom coming in? No. All right. All right. With that, I will adjourn the Board of Education closed session and reconvene the regular Board of Education open session at 7:07. And this evening, we would like to open with a moment to remember those that lost their lives 18 years ago. I think almost everyone in this room will remember where you were on that. It's Pearl Harbor was a day of infamy. I don't know what 9/11 was, but it was one of the darkest days in our history. And all those first responders that are the first ones to charge up the stairs and go fight down the fires charged in and did their duties, and so many of them died that day. That as we look back on that and look back on the months after that, the unity that came about and the heroes that were made during that time, I think it behooves us to spend just a few minutes remembering them and to remember some of the thoughts we had and the feelings we had and the feeling of unity we had, and recommit ourselves to that unity. And so with that, I'd like to take just a few moments of silence to remember those that lost their lives that day. All right. With that, we'll go to the roll call. We'll go to the Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Zamaripa, you are up.
Good evening, Board President Gilliland, Board of Education, MUSD Cabinet, Dr. Tarosian, and good evening, Monrovia citizens. I do want to just give pause and say thank you very much for that moment of silence, and despite how that shaped our future, something that came out of it is so great is we have children here in this community that we serve that don't remember that day now. I know, but when we work with these children, it truly galvanizes us and motivates us to do great things for them. And they really are the positive that comes out of these trying times. And so if that doesn't get you going every morning, I don't know what will. And I'm very proud to introduce, on that note, I'm very proud to introduce 3 awesome Cougar Scholars from the Santa Fe Computer Science Magnet School this evening. I have 7th grader Marissa Mendez, 7th grader Brianna Petway, and 8th grader Isaiah Ainsworth. They're going to lead us in the pledge, and then they'll give us a few brief remarks about what it's like to be in the Avid program at Santa Fe. So first, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Hello, my name is Brianna Petway. I am in the 7th grade Avid program at Santa Fe Computer Science Magnet School. My teacher is Miss Mohey. She is one of the best teachers because in this class, we learn organization, how to have courage and pride in ourselves, how to be exemplary students. We even have amazing tutors from Cal Poly. But most of all, we think about what we want to be when we grow up, our goals, and how we're going to get there. Our ultimate goal is to prepare for college. Avid helps us be successful, one day even own our own business and get that degree, reach those high standards. And that's just a little piece of Avid. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Isaiah Ainsworth at Santa Fe Computer Science Magnet School, a part of the Avid program. The Avid program is a very constructive program as it helps students with academics, getting work done, and being organized. The program also helps with building character skills. Personally, the program has ultimately helped me with both. We have tutorials which helps when I'm stuck on a problem or I just don't happen to get a lesson. We also are going to be tutoring the 6th graders, or in other words, helping them with their homework. This benefits and assists me in boosting my social skills and allows me to interact with other people while helping out the community at the same time. The Avid program is also helping me to get where I want to go with my life. I am looking to attend Stanford University and major in computer engineering. All in all, the Avid program is very beneficial and inspiring to students in Monrovia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to open the meeting this morning, or this evening, excuse me.
Dr. Zamaripa, we have some certificates for your scholars who've joined us, and I think we'd like to give it to them and shake their hands.
Excellent.
All right, let the roll call show that all are present except for Mr. Wong, our board clerk, who is not feeling well tonight, and Connie Wu, our assistant business services, who is elsewhere occupied. At the closed session tonight, we discussed several cases that are possible litigation and some personnel issues. We took no formal action. For the order of business, I believe there's one item to be pulled from the agenda.
Yes, President Gillen, members of the board will be removing action item 5, our agreement with KGEM, from this agenda, and we'll also be amending the contract in consent agenda 5, and really just identifying the principal as our contact person.
Okay. All right, any other changes to the order of business? None?
There are none.
All right, we'll move on to approval of the minutes of the board meeting of August 28th. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff, please take the vote.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board President Gilliland?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
And with that, we'll move on to our recognitions. The Board of Education Chamber of Commerce would like to congratulate the following employees on being recipients of our Employee of the Month for September. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Jackson.
Yes, Board President Gilliland, members of the board, Dr. Tarosian, cabinet, members of the community. This evening, we're honored to recognize our classified and certificated employees of the month for their commitment to our community, the district, and most importantly, our students. In recognition of their service, they will be receiving tokens of appreciation here to my left in these lovely red bags here from the school board, the Chamber of Commerce, as well as Foothill Federal Credit Union. So with no further ado, I'd like to invite our Director of Early Childhood and Extended School Programs, Mr. Tom McFadden.
Board President Gilliland, members of the board, Dr. Tarosian, and cabinet, it's my pleasure to recognize some amazing people that work with us, both at Canyon Early Learning Center and the Village Program. I like to say that great starts start at CELC and great ends end at Village, hopefully by 6 o'clock if everyone gets picked up on time. So we are excited to bring up a couple of employees. Our first recognition is going to be our Employee of the Month for the Village Program. I'd like to bring up Brian Armas. Brian is Brian is our site manager at Santa Fe Middle School. A couple of fun facts about Brian. He is a MHS graduate of 2007. And a funner fact is that he started working in the Village Program in 2008. So work to school program, or school to work, was in effect for sure for Brian. He's been site manager with us since 2018, has worked at Wild Rose, Clifton, and Santa Fe Middle Schools. Another little interesting fact is that he will be getting married in 2021, so we're excited about that for him. And words that describe Brian go beyond what I'm able to say here, but I know for sure that his colleagues have described him as enthusiastic, creative, and very engaging for the students. So we thank you for your work and all the things that you have done. Angel will help us with the flow, because I'll mess that up if I don't do that. So, and then there's a little Portos thing in there that he's going to share with everyone in the audience. So we'll go on, and then Brian, just have a seat in the front row, and then we'll take pictures all together at the same time if that works. Okay. Oh, in the back, and this. Thank you. So our now we're going to recognize some of our folks over here at Kenya Early Learning Center. So I'd like to bring up Katie Cardenas, our Classified Employee of the Month. A fun fact about the two recipients, they were actually selected by the colleagues, and they work in the same room, so there's somewhat of a theme going on in this room 11 over there. A couple things about Katie is that she likes horror movies. Just found that out. And cooking. Cooking is a big theme over at CLC, whether it's making it or eating it. We do a good job in both of those. She's an aide for us, but she also is a super sub. She fills in a lot of roles, both as an aide and a teacher, as the need arises. Started at CLC in 2015. She can be described as nice, empathetic, and definitely a team player. She puts in extra time, and she's always thinking of ways to beautify our campus and meet those little ones where they need to be met. So thank you so much for your service. And you get all this stuff back here and some more stuff there, so we're going to make that happen. You guys can clap for it. It's fine. It's good. And then her colleague in the room is our Certificated Employee of the Month, our teacher, Jenny Castellanos. So come on down, Jenny. So fun fact about Jenny is that she likes to cook all the stuff that we like to eat. So it's a good relationship. A funner fact about Jenny is that she can be heard quoting Lucille Ball and Little Rascals on campus. So if you ever hear some of that, it's coming from Jenny. She is a 3-year-old. She's in our room 11. She does a great job. They both do a great job working with our 3-year-olds who are transitioning into the school for the first time. So they do a great job both with students and the parents that need to transition away after they drop off, which can be interesting. She started in 2007 at CELC, and she is described as enthusiastic, caring, and extra fun. So thank you for all you do. And she does a lot behind the scenes at CELC, so we definitely appreciate that. So round of applause. So Jenny, you get a bag, flowers, and pour those, and I think we're ready to take pictures.
Pictures of CELC first. Yep.
Do you want one program at a time, or are we all together? All together. Okay. Come on up, people. Bring all your stuff. Bring what you like. Whatever you want in there. Thank you. Recipients in the front.
As we're transitioning, I'd like to invite Mr. Fernando Martinez from Maintenance Operations and Transportation.
Good evening, Board President Gilliland, board members, Dr. Thorosian, cabinet members, and members of the community. I am honored, very honored, to recognize tonight Mr. James Bice as one of our employees of the month. James has been with our district for 2.5 years. He's the only electrician, but more than our electrician, James is truly an inspiration to all of us through his exemplary work ethics, professionalism, excellent team player abilities, and overall as an individual. He continues to inspire all of us on a daily basis. His ability to stay calm during the storm. He was very instrumental when we had the team work on those boxes at the field. He was basically the leading force. He managed to keep everybody calm with a cool head. As a very organized individual, James adapts and responds very well during situations that demand a change of plans at a moment's notice. And he offers no resistance whatsoever, no pun intended. Thank you, James. Thank you for being an inspiration to me, myself, your team. James is the one they go to when they need help. He always goes out of his way to help pretty much everyone. And I truly, truly appreciate it. Makes my job a lot more easier. And anyways, I want to, this is a gift from the MOT office. As I mentioned, he's the only electrician, so I'm giving you a pair of hands here. As well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Don't go too far, because we're going to need to get a picture with you here in a moment.
Dr. Sue Kaiser to round out the evening of celebrations here.
Jennifer Kwan, if you would join me at the podium, please. Board President Gilliland, members of the board, Dr. Trosian, cabinet, and members of the community, it gives me great pleasure tonight to present to you Miss Jennifer Kwan, known as J. Kwan or JK, as the most exquisite data clerk in the district. She would be the only data clerk in the district. Jennifer Kwan came to us 4 years ago, and I'd like us all to start chanting right now, 4 more years, right? And it has been an absolute joy and a privilege to work with Jennifer. Little did we know when we hired Jennifer Kwan that she is a master of many things. Not only is she a fantastic data clerk, she is a genuine friend to everybody that she meets, a fine guitarist, and a published author. And she has written a children's book that we hope that all of our children will read. It's about being a friend. She has many qualities that are hard to find bundled all into one person. People have described her as friendly. Just look at her beautiful smile. And genuine, a better friend you would never find. She's smart and a team player, and she has an uncanny willingness to do whatever she's asked to do, to serve in many different ways. She'll come to me and say, you know, Dr. Trosian has asked me to work on something. By all means. And no matter how difficult it is, she smiles and says, I think I could figure this out. She enjoys learning, and that has been such a great thing for our district. She solves problems daily, and we're fortunate to have Jennifer Kwan, J. Kwan, on our team. Always remember that J. Kwan has your number. And Jennifer, I have your Starbucks. And there's more.
Thank you, thank you.
Fernando.
So many great people work for this district, and it's always a pleasure to recognize those that are chosen for Employees of the Month, because they're really special people, and thanks for all you do. And thanks for our presenters for highlighting these great employees. All right, with that, we'll move on to board member reports. Mr. Hammond, I believe you have a report, and you're bringing gifts with you.
Thank you. Last Friday night, we rededicated the football field at Monrovia High School. It was a very brief yet poignant ceremony. We had our counterparts from the city there, and they delivered to us this certificate of recognition that I'd like to pass on to the board.
This one?
That one. I do think that the community is receiving the new field in the spirit in which it is presented. That night we won actually it was a week ago Friday night, we won the football game the night that we rededicated the field. So thank you, MHS football team, for that. This afternoon, or this morning at MHS, I'm not going to use their last names because they did not give me permission, but I'll use their first names. Tyler and Jack from Healing Connections put together a very elegant ceremony with respect to thanking our first responders and remembering those who lost their lives 18 years ago. I had a moment to talk to the class that was assembled, the students that were assembled, and I asked how many of them were even born when September the 11th, 2001 occurred, and only 2 of them out of about, I think about 100 students, it seemed like, were in the room. And I asked how many, obviously, and it was the vast majority were not born yet. Yet here they were practicing a civics lesson on how to remember people that had gone before you, and to thank the ones that were in our community that were doing the job that so many that day lost their lives doing. And I'd really like to thank the administration at MHS, the teachers of these students, particularly Susan Hirsch, who leads the Healing Connection, and allowing this creativity to happen that encourages the young folks in our community to pick up the banner and then carry us forward. It was a great tribute, and they did a fantastic job, and I'd like to just thank Tyler and Jack for putting that together. This past weekend, Marissa Travanti and Celine Lockerbie and I went to a CSBA conference in San Diego. Some of the material was very good, and some of the material was less than very good. And it makes you realize that when you go to a conference and you're able to get a lot of substance out of it, how incredibly good that is. Because when you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, gosh, can this clock go any slower? And it's freezing. I mean, literally it was freezing. And the whole time in the afternoon, it was kind of, I was spent between, will that clock move and can I get warm? And so, because the material was so dry, it made me really appreciate all the good conferences that I had gone to, because didn't happen to be one of them. And that was my report.
Thank you, Mr. Hammond. Ms. Lockerbie.
Thank you, President Gilliland. I just wanted to speak also about the conference that we were able to attend this past weekend, and was very thankful to be able to be always learning. It's important for me as a freshman board member to learn as much as I can from as many places as I can. So I very much appreciated the opportunity to learn about student learning and achievement and policy and judicial review. So I was very thankful to be able to leave my family for the weekend. and be able to get this information and always be learning, and not just learning about policy and judicial review and achievement, student achievement, but to be able to learn more about my fellow board members, because that helps to make the team continue to be healthy and continue to grow. So I appreciate the fellowship that came with the conference as well.
I will just say I appreciate those that went last week to the, it's called Masters in Governance. It's a session where we learn how to be better at our jobs and what the guidelines are, and the dedication that it takes to take a whole weekend and get away from the family. But to take it to do those things and sit in some sessions that aren't so good and others that really are full of meat. I appreciate each one of you for your commitment to this board and to this community, and most of all to our students. So thanks for going to that.
I'd like to just add something too, because I piggyback on what Mr. Hammond and Ms. Lockerbie have also stated. But what was most interesting for me in this conference is that you get to hear from board members and superintendents from other areas, and the challenges and barriers and success stories that you hear from those districts, and you take away some best practices. So although we were freezing. And some of the material was dry, I think it's priceless to be able to be in a room with other board members from all over California. So I did appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks so much. We'll move on to our report from our superintendent, Dr. Thorosian. What happened to our student report? Did I skip it? No, it's not on here. Oh. But you're a board member, so you can go right on under board member reports. Yes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Valerie Hernandez. I'm the school board member from Monrovia High School. So we started school a couple weeks back, and we had a freshman orientation the day before school started to kind of get the freshmen to prepare them as much as we can for high school, because a lot of them were really nervous. And a group of upperclassmen got together and hosted the orientation. Also, we hosted our Club Rush 2 weeks ago. Clubs advertised and fundraised money for their clubs. We had over around, I'd say, 40 clubs outside during lunch, selling food and giving information about their clubs. So it was a good experience, especially for the freshmen to get to be involved in their school. Also, we had our first football game of 4. On behalf of Monrovia High School, we want to thank you guys for having you guys out there. It was an amazing experience, and also we got to win our first home game, so that was also a victory. Also, our student section, every year it's just growing and growing with students and even parents and people that graduated from Monrovia High School. And last year I know we had around like 300 people, and this game we had even more people supporting our Wildcats, so we want to thank you guys for that too. And last Friday we hosted our first rally of the year. We did a competition of underclassmen versus upperclassmen. This year we're trying to focus more on involving more of the freshmen into events that the high school hosts, because usually it's just upperclassmen and the freshmen never feel involved. So that's one of our main goals, to make sure that the freshmen are feeling welcomed at their school. And we are excited to keep growing this year, and hopefully this year is a great one. So thank you.
Thanks so much for your report. I appreciate it. We'll move on to the report from our superintendent, Dr. Thorosian.
Thank you, President Gilliland, members of the board. I have photographic evidence of...
That's the one you... That was staged, by the way. Just to be clear, that was staged.
It's true. But the blanket is real on Maritza.
The blanket is real. It was cold.
It really was, though. And there's Ms. Lockerbie actually leading a group discussion. The introvert that she is, she was willing to step out. And let me just echo my appreciation for the opportunity to spend the time in learning more, and also for the rich conversations, sometimes even during some of the presentations that were a little drier, because it did allow for just visioning and thinking about education as a whole. No board business was conducted. Okay. But thank you again, and it really was a nice way to spend a Friday, Saturday.
And I did miss my kids.
For those of you that missed it, Ms. Lockerbie just admitted she missed her kids. So I want the kids to hear that if they watch this.
Children, I did miss you. And husband, I did miss you.
All right, thanks so much. Thank you, Dr. Throsian. With that, we'll move on to public comments. The Board of Education encourages public participation, invites you to share your views on school business. If you would like to address the board, please complete one of the Addressing the Board of Education forms that are on the table in the lobby and hand it to Ms. Huff. In order to accomplish board business in a timely, efficient manner, public input is limited to no more than 5 minutes per person per item. First up is public comment for items not on the agenda. Compliance with the Brown Act items not on the agenda legally can't be discussed by the board tonight. We welcome your input, but we're limited to asking clarifying questions and gathering contact information. Items requiring board discussion or action will have to be calendared for a future meeting so that any interested parties may attend and provide input. Ms. Huff, do we have speaker cards?
Yes, Board President Gilliland, I'd like to invite Janelle Gonzalez to the podium.
Welcome, Janelle.
Good evening, board members. My name is Janelle Gonzalez, and I have a third grader at Brad Oaks and another son at Canyon. I came just to voice a few concerns I've had over the years, specifically with Brad Oaks. As you know, it's no mystery that Brad Oaks is the only school in the district without a clear education specialty or focus. Mayflower specializes in robotics. We have 3 schools now specializing in dual immersion, with Wild Rose also specializing in its innovative arts program. And wow, Santa Fe and that computer science program, just amazing. Many of the parents at Brad Oaks have been anxiously waiting to see what our focus will be, and we have seen nothing. Year after year goes by and nothing happens. It appears to me that Brad Oaks is unfortunately that school that just got forgotten or left behind. It's sad really because it's such a wonderful community of teachers, parents, and students. I am not sure how the district has allowed Brad Oaks to fall by the wayside and not propel its growth, especially in its curriculum. Last year, we were told we were on our way to becoming a STEM academy and that the first rollout of this would happen at the beginning of this year. We were hopeful. Now there's no promise of that in the near future, just a few science activities or projects to catapult Brad Oaks as a science-focused school. One science night a year isn't enough, and I think the parents deserve answers. If Brad Oaks will continue to not have a focus, then we need to be transparent with the parents about that. If the district is not pulling resources for the school, we need to let the parents at Brad Oaks know this. In addition, the school in and of itself is run down. Kids are playing with damaged playground equipment that every day is a hazard. Our cafeteria is falling apart. Maintenance crews take weeks to fix something if it's damaged. Last year, my son's one-on-one aide fell in a pothole at the school, which resulted in her breaking her arm, and she couldn't come back to be my son's one-on-one aide, and that affected us personally and his growth. We watch as the other school get upgrades, digital marquees, new playground equipment, and year after year we get nothing. I could keep going, but time is limited. I just hope that Brad Oaks becomes a priority again, or at least is brought up to the same level as the other schools in the district. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate your comments. Have you given your contact information to Ms. Huff so that our
Yes, I have.
staff can contact you? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next.
Board President Gilliland, the next request to speak comes from Mr. Blanton.
Mr. Blanton, welcome again.
Ms. Therosian did supply me with the letter that I had not seen. However, it didn't address the issues that I addressed on, I believe it was August 28th, which was requesting the information to appeal to the county or the state board of education, which is, there's no mention of that. And I also asked for instruction on parameters to place a letter. There is a mention of a letter, but there's no parameters in what that can go on that letter.
All right, so you have the letter now.
I have a letter, but it doesn't, it was mailed after the 14th. I was here on the 28th requesting parameters for a letter to be placed in his personal file and parameters to appeal it to the either county or state board of education. I received nothing since the 28th. No contact, not a phone call, nothing, and I'm sitting there waiting.
I'm still available whenever you want to sit down with me. Dr. Therosian, would you make sure that Mr. Blanton gets that information in the next week? Or
yes, of course.
Thank you.
But this is like the second time that I'm sure there's a time period on the appeal to the county or the state board, and this will be the second time that the time frame given is being really stretched out to give me a chance to adequately respond.
I don't believe there's an appeal for what you're talking about, but that information will be coming to you. So
I have this piece of paper if you would like to read it regarding that issue. If you would like to see it, I'd be
well, certainly
happy
not.
to hand it to
Now
you.
is not the time for us to stop and read a letter, but like I say, I'll sit down with you anytime. Just call me and I'll be glad to sit down with you and discuss that.
It's nice when I ask something that you actually get a response. That's why I spend my time coming there. So thank you.
You bet. Any more speaker cards? Anyone else out there? Okay. How about for public comments that are on the open session agenda? Any comment cards? No. All right. Then we'll move on to our informational reports with summer school update by Dr. Kaiser.
Board President Gilliland, members of the board, Dr. Therosian, cabinet, and community. It gives me great pleasure tonight to talk about our summer school programs that we had. We're going to be highlighting these 4 programs. And I'd like to welcome to the podium Mrs. Stacy Wilkins and Mr. Rich Morrison, who were leaders in 2 of the programs, and I will talk about the other 2. While we had developed a catch-up program called Camp Read a Lot for our 4th and 5th grade youngsters, which was the first one of these programs that we developed a few years ago through our LCAP process, there was a concern that there wasn't enough intervention for our younger students. So we have developed a program called Junior Camp Read a Lot, which addresses 1st through 3rd grade, and it's an intensive reading intervention for children that lasts 4 weeks, and it's 4 hours a day. So in Junior Camp Read a Lot, the children are in 1st through 3rd grade. It is primarily a reading intervention program, and the objective is to support the students not reading at grade level. So those youngsters that have already fallen behind in 1st grade that didn't master all of the standards in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then we look at the children through a pre-test and a post-test. In that 4-week period, we measure the growth, and we use 2 measurements. One is called the Basic Phonics Skills Test, and that is commonly referred to by teachers as the BPST. It's another one of our acronyms. And we also use the reading inventory. You'll notice when we get to the reading inventory that it doesn't reflect much growth in the entire average, because the children that are not reading yet, that are still learning phonemic awareness and phonics skills, their growth doesn't register on the reading inventory because it is a comprehension test. So this is a picture of our students learning in Camp Read a Lot. And the thing that always is so gratifying is to see the smiles on their faces. And some of these kids have some trepidation when they're asked to read during the school year, but when they come to summer school and they have 4 hours a day of nurturing and individualized attention and learning that is just right at their level, that Goldilocks kind of learning, the smiles beam. So the first test that we looked at is the basic phonics skills test. This measures how many sounds and blends and diphthongs they learn during the summer. The pre-average score was 47.72%. In terms of the entire test, and the post-average was 58.77. When you consider that many of these children experience the summer slide during the summer, this shows that we are going in a positive direction and trajectory with these students. On the reading inventory, we saw growth of 13 Lexile points, which is about a month's worth of growth. And these, again, are children that are not growing month by month during the school year, and we were able to do a little bit of catch-up with these students in the summer. Our next program that I'm going to invite Miss Stacy Wilkins to come and talk about is Camp Read a Lot. Camp Read a Lot was has just finished its 4th summer, if you can believe that. I remember the first year that we came and reported on the wonderful success, and we didn't know if that success could be repeated. The students in Camp Read a Lot have consistently grown every summer for the past 4 years, 6 months in 4 weeks. And Stacy will come and share with us the program, some of the activities that happened, and what those specific growth marks are.
Good evening. My name is Stacy Wilkins, and I've had the pleasure of running Camp Read a Lot now for the last 4 years. And I do have to say I'm a proud mama. I'm so proud of the students for their hard work and the teachers for their hard work and dedication that they gave every single day to this program. So what is Camp Read a Lot? It is an intensive reading intervention program for our struggling 4th and 5th grade students. And it's not just an intervention program. During the 4 weeks that we have them in the summertime, we provide them with field trips. We take them to the mission. We take them to the Gene Autry Museum. We give them experiences that they might not otherwise have. We use the growth measurement tool, our reading inventory, to measure growth. And we use this. Oh, here's some of our kiddos. We also do a lot of project-based learning, and the kids have fun with team building activities in the classroom. So I'm very proud to say that we saw an average growth of 51 Lexiles in just 4 weeks. And what that equates to is about 6 months growth in reading comprehension in just 4 weeks. So super excited about that. And I'm excited to run this program again next summer.
After we had a couple of years' experience with Camp Read a Lot under our belt, one of our math specialists came and said, you know, I'd like to try a Camp Math a Lot, and that kind of sounded funny. So we played around with the name and we came up with Camp Infinity. This program is for our 4th through 8th grade students, and the students that we looked at for coming into this program were students that we know if they're significantly behind in math going into middle school, and those that are in middle school, that those algebraic concepts that they need to learn to go on in math, that's a real gatekeeper for them in higher education. And they begin to lose their confidence in math, and they begin to feel like they're not good at math because they can't do what their neighbor's doing. And so again, we bring these students together, and the first message is you can do math. We're going to teach you how. We're going to break it down into its component parts, and we're going to make you love math. We're not going to make you, we're going to guide you to love math. And so I'm going to have Rich Morrison come and share a little bit about Camp Infinity. It's in its third year. Did we just finish we've just finished our third year of Camp Infinity. Time just is whizzing by, and you will see some astonishing data results here. So Rich is going to come share.
I'm afraid to touch the microphone because I might do one of those things, so I'm going to bring it down to my level here. Okay. So I had my name is Rich Morrison. I had the distinct pleasure of coordinating Camp Infinity this past summer. And I have to say, I give a big shout out to the teachers that worked, because they're the ones that made the magic happen in the classroom. I spent a lot of time in the classrooms during the 20 days of instruction, and the things that were happening in the classroom were awesome, and the results you'll see are pretty astounding. So Camp Infinity was for 4th through 8th grade. It was a math intervention program focusing on fractional mathematics and a STEM-based project-based learning environment. The objective was to support the students that weren't performing at grade level, and the measurement tools that I used was a Common Core-based digital math assessment, both pre and post, and a math inventory assessment, which is somewhat similar to reading inventory that they alluded to earlier, but it is a progression to algebra test. And we did a pre and a post so we could gather the data from that. So just to give you an idea what the daily instructional components were, we started out with number sense and reasoning routines. We had SWAN math lessons that were both procedural and conceptual. We had a STEM Genius Hour where students worked on research and development and project-based learning in regards to science, technology, engineering, mathematics. We also partnered with the Discovery Cube and Azusa Pacific University. So the Discovery Cube came and did 6 days worth of workshops with the kids that focus on renewable energy. We did a field trip to Discovery Cube Los Angeles that tied into what we were doing in the classroom. We did bridge building activities with the students, and just to touch a little bit on that, how incredible it was, the students were tasked with building a bridge that had to span a 14-inch gap. And I had gone to the bank because we were going to use penny rolls as the weights. And I bought $35 worth of pennies, or penny rolls, and which is pretty heavy. And I learned very quickly that was not enough weight to break not even one of the bridges. These kids built them so well out of popsicle sticks and other means. And so it ended up being that even the one that was the weakest link, which never broke but sagged a little bit, held $35 worth of pennies, 6 boxes of staples, 4 staplers, and a drill gun battery, because we were grabbing whatever we could because we were trying to break these things, and they never broke. So I have to give it up to the students and the teachers for their research into that STEM-based Genius Hour. It was awesome. The field trip to Azusa Pacific University I thought was a good thing to do for the kids, because it kept in line with our college-bound culture here in Monrovia. And we met with some representatives from there and took a tour of the campus, all the way from academics to college life, and the things that they could learn, and opportunities that could be presented to them in that college way. So that's what one day looked like. Now imagine that times 20. So these are some pictures from our wonderful learners, and you can see one of the bridges in the middle. There are pictures of the digital math activities that the children were engaged in, and most of all, you see a lot of smiling faces. And that was the great part, is these kids were there learning every day, and they were excited, and they showed up early in the morning, and was pushed them on the bus to get out of there. So they were excited to be there and excited to participate, and they put a lot of effort and work, and it really paid off for them. So on the Common Core based math assessment, the pre-average score was 27.5%, and the post-average was 46.33 with a growth of 20.58, which is a difficult test and a really good growth in 20 days of instruction, only 20. The next piece of data that you're going to see is the pretty astounding one. So on the math inventory, you're lucky to get 100 or less quantiles per year growth. In the 20 days, that was 136 quantiles of growth on this assessment, which approximates to about a year and a third of growth in just those 20 days. So again, it's a partnership, with the teachers, with the students, with the parents, getting the kids there, with the teachers doing a fabulous job at very intense instruction and focused instruction on really difficult math material, and then the students being able to produce what they did. I'm very proud of everybody that was involved in it, and the opportunity for me to be able to help coordinate, I feel very blessed to be a part of it. So thank you.
And the astounding thing about Camp Infinity is we've been replicating these results in both Camp Read a Lot and Camp Infinity for a few years. This was our third year. Every year we've gotten between 15 and 18 months growth in Camp Infinity. So the recipe that we have for implementing this instructional model, it can be replicated year after year. A different coordinator, different teachers, same system, and we're getting the same results. The next program, and the last program I'll share tonight, is the Middle School Bridge Program. We noticed that we have an issue in our district with some of our English language learners, as all throughout California, the students who have been in the English language program for many years, they're commonly referred to as LTELs, long-term English learners. And in order to target their needs, we developed a middle school bridge program for these learners to give them some of the academic English that they need to be successful in middle school. And so the objective has been to support these students in a more intensive way. And we've used the English Language Proficiency Assessment for California, the LPAC practice test, as our measurement. And so again, you can see the smiles and Dr. Z rooting these students on. Summer school is a very happy place, and when you walk through the classrooms, you see the education happening in some unconventional ways. They have the gift of having more time with their teacher, a complete 4-hour block. With the English language learners, they're learning inside and outside, a big focus on vocabulary. And so vocabulary can be learned through reading, it can be learned through storytelling, it can be learned outside in physical activities. And so much of it has been very much hands-on and activity-based. And so here are the growth points that we can see from the 4-week period that we had with our English language learners. On this chart, you can see the green bars reflect their entrance, the blue bars reflect their exit, and again, this is in just a 4-week period. And so there was growth in listening, reading, writing, and speaking in the cohort. And the average growth of these students was 11.7 percentiles on the LPAT, going from 56 to 68. And again, these students frequently come back to us having a significant summer slide, because these are our English language learners. They're at home, their native language is Spanish or whatever their native language is, primarily Spanish, and they come back having to relearn some of that English. And in light of that, the fact that we were able to execute some growth for these students in the summer, hopefully that catches them on that summer slide. And those are our 4 summer school programs.
And it's obvious they were wonderful programs. I want to thank everybody that was involved in making them such a success. It's so gratifying to see the progress our students can make. Appreciate that. All right, we'll move on to consent agenda. These are routine.
Can I ask Dr. Kaiser some questions?
Well, you may.
Is that all right with you, Dr. Kaiser?
Of course.
Thank you so much. For Camp Read a Lot, you said that you've been doing this program for 4 years now?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How do you identify the children that come to that will be invited to the camp? Are they invited?
They are specifically invited, and it's based on their achievement needs.
So on their achievement on...
It's based on their Smarter Balance test and also classroom performance, and also the reading inventory. We use multiple measures to look at our students through many lenses during the school year. And so these students are students that are reading 2 to 3, maybe 4 grade levels below their grade level.
Does the state of California pay for summer school?
No, our LCAP process has made decisions as we've gone through our LCAP process to pay for this out of our supplemental and concentration funding.
Will you expand that acronym for us, or that abbreviation for us? LCAP.
Yes, the Local Control Accountability Plan.
Junior Camp Read a Lot. How long have you been doing that?
This is our second year.
This is the second year. So this is something that, did you hear, you heard a need for that?
We
you
absolutely
saw a need
did.
for that.
We heard a great cry from teachers that we need to intervene earlier. And there are 2 things that we did in response to that. One was to create the Junior Camp Read a Lot as a summer program. And also we expanded the hours of our interventionist. Up until a couple of years ago, we were only paying 50% of the interventionist from district funds. Now we're paying 100% of the interventionist to assist the schools 50% of the day with the 4th and 5th grade students, and the rest of the day during the school year they have to work with the K through 3 students.
I want to thank you for listening, for seeing, for your incredible awareness of what needs to happen, and not only for listening and for being aware, but for implementing change.
Thank you.
You can listen all you want, but the fact that you have put these new programs into place and had this great outcome, it's very important. And I'm very appreciative of you and all of the people that have been part of this for making this happen, because you have, the state hasn't funded this, so you have found a way to come together and bring this to the people that need it most. So it's very important, and I appreciate the work, and I especially appreciate that that you have been able to find a way to get to the younger students, because the earlier we can get the intervention, the more impact it will make throughout their scholastic career, throughout their life. So I really appreciate the fact that you have been able to address the need at a younger age. I think that's very important, and thank you all for what you're doing.
Okay, now we'll move on to consent agenda. Are there any items to be pulled?
There are none.
All right, could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff, please take the vote.
Board Member Travanti,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie,
Yes?
Board President Gilliland.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, then we'll move on to action item number 1, contract with TerraPave Incorporated for Monrovia's High School driveway. Who's presenting that?
Board President Gilliland, I have the pleasure of presenting this one in the absence of Connie Wu. The Board of Education is requested to award the contract to TerraPave Incorporated in the amount of $14,600 to remove and replace approximately 1,700 square feet of failed asphalt at the Colorado entrance driveway at Monrovia High School, which is displayed here. Due to aging wear and tear, the deteriorated condition of the failed asphalt is in need of complete replacement. An invitation for the project was sent to 3 companies, and the district received a response from TerraPave as well as Mission Paving, with no information from Bashford Enterprise. TerraPave presented the most cost-effective proposal for the Monrovia Unified School District in comparison to Mission Paving's proposal, which came in at a higher cost of $20,350. It should be noted that TerraPave wasn't selected just based on the cost. We've worked with them previously, most recently with work completed at Mayflower, and they're also doing some work in our facilities yard, the Maintenance, Operation, and Transportation Department. They do guarantee their work for a period of a year, and should inclement weather present itself, i.e. rain, here in Southern California, we would be presented with a reschedule for the suitable work to be done. And the bid would also be extended to cover that time period. The new construction should be expected to last anywhere from 10 to 20 years, and that is, again, depending on wear and tear and the maintenance of that work. And I know in speaking with Dr. Tarosian and Fernando, our Director of Maintenance, Operation, and Transportation, they're in the process of creating a proactive and preventative maintenance plan to reduce that wear and tear, in addition to maintaining the quality workmanship that this company is going to provide us with. Again, the projected cost of this project is $14,600 and will be funded through the Capital Outlay Fund.
Are there questions, comments?
Couple questions. What was the cost per square foot that was quoted for the MOT yard?
Fernando, do you have that information offhand?
That's what I thought. This is double that. That's why I'm asking this question. I need to get an answer.
Okay.
If you don't have the information, we can certainly get it, but if we don't have if you're not confident, I would rather not hazard any guesses.
Yeah, I think it would be the healthiest thing for us to do is to get you the question. I like to get you the question ahead of time so that you can find the answer, so that you can it's a very important question.
Yeah.
But I'd like us to be able to communicate so that we're all prepared, so that when you can get that to us.
Absolutely, I will reach out to the company.
Okay.
And confirm my thoughts.
Yeah.
Is that bid still good at our next board meeting?
It is still.
Okay, so can
table it till next board meeting?
Table it till the next board meeting?
Okay.
Board Member Hammond, you had a couple of questions.
Oh, it's going to stop there.
Yeah.
It would assist us in preparing for the next board meeting.
Well, I want to know why it's double what the last quote was from the same company. What's the scope of work that's so drastically different that a smaller piece of work is double the cost per square foot? The 14,000 isn't the issue, it's the cost per square foot. Okay. I didn't have a question until a second ago when I thought about it, because it was the same company, and I remember thinking it's $3 to $4 a square foot for asphalt. And then I was replaying the last meeting in my mind when we had talked about the scope of work that they were going to do, and that it wasn't just going to be able to do a slurry seal, it was going to have all these other things that we had to do. And so that seemed to me going down to the ground and coming back up, and it was $3 or $4 a square foot. And so I got my calculator out and I went, whatever this dollar amount, 14,600 divided by 1,700 comes to $8.58 a square foot. And then my question becomes why? That's
Okay.
my whole thought process. If anyone wants to know what goes on in my head, it's not a very lonely place in here. And it's quite noisy sometimes.
We will do the research and bring it back.
All right. Any other questions or comments before we table that and move on? All right. If other questions occur, please send them to Dr. Therosian so she can get them in. Then we will table that and move on to item 2, the reappointment of Jeannie Tyler, Personnel Commissioner.
Can I ask a question before
About
we move on?
what? Yeah, before we move on. Yeah, now's the time.
If we table this, does it delay the installation date?
We were just waiting for the board approval to.
Here comes the microphone.
We have not scheduled a start date with them, and we would not do so until the board approves the contract. So we won't be able to schedule a date until the board approves it. So
what
by
this
definition,
is
it would
approving
be.
the contract.
Yeah, so
Okay.
by definition, it would be delayed at least 2 weeks.
How many days is this job going to take? We're not going to do it while school's in session, are we?
3 days. Oh no.
Approximately 3 days. I had a bargain with them to do it over the weekend.
Okay, so we would do it as soon as the contract's approved, basically.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't think we're in any danger of running into wet weather 2 weeks further out. I wish we were, but afraid not. All right, we'll table that and move on to item 2, appointment of Jeannie Tyler, the Personnel Commissioner.
Board President Gilliland, members of the board, Dr. Therosian, members of the community. This request comes to you with no budgetary implication. The Board of Education is requested to publicly announce Jeannie Tyler as CSEA's nominee to the Personnel Commission and to set October 23rd, 2019 as the date for a public hearing regarding the appointment of Ms. Tyler to the Personnel Commission. Her current term, or the current term of office, expires on December 1st, 2019, and Mrs. Tyler has indicated a willingness to serve another term.
Any questions, comments? I'll make one comment, is that I was hoping that Jeannie could be here tonight so that we could give her our appreciation for all the hard work she puts in and all the good things that she's done on that Personnel Commission. So if you'd pass that along, I appreciate it, Dr. Jackson.
Will do.
All right.
I'll move Jeannie's nomination.
Second.
Okay.
Take the vote, please.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Gilliland?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, memorandum of understanding between the Monrovia Unified School District and La Sierra University.
Yes, the Board of Education is requested to approve a memorandum of understanding to provide students of the university educational clinical practice experience in the areas of teaching and/or administration and/or pupil services, specifically for special education, counseling, and school psychology. La Sierra University has established programs in student teaching, pupil services, and administration and leadership. Approval of this agreement will give the district benefits of having student teachers in the classroom while assisting in the preparation of future teachers and giving us access to those future teachers.
Questions or comments? One question is those students don't receive any remuneration, do they?
No.
Okay. All right, could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
All right, Ms. Huff, please take the vote.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board President Gilliland?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, moving on to item 4, memorandum of understanding between San Gabriel Unified School District, LEA, for San Gabriel Valley Consortium induction program for us. Dr. Jackson.
Board President Gilliland, members of the board, Dr. Therosian. The Board of Education is requested to approve the MOU between San Gabriel Unified School District, lead agency for the San Gabriel Valley Consortium Teacher Induction Program, and the Monrovia Unified School District. Beginning with the 2001-2002 school year, MUSD has joined with 6 other school districts to form this consortium. The San Gabriel Valley Consortium program is funded by the state of California and provides resources and materials to directly support qualifying new teachers. The cost shall not exceed $65,000, and it depends on the number of teachers that actually participate each year.
What's the cost per teacher approximately?
$1,500.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and we've pulled item 5. No? Oh. Here I go, assuming everybody's going to vote for this. Ms. Huff, please take the vote.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board President Gilliland?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
That's like a give me putt. Do I take it or not? All right. Then we've taken item 5 off the agenda, and we'll move on to pending board issues. Anything we need to be aware of? Dr. Thorosian?
There's not, President. Not in pending board issues, and we do have some new business, though.
Okay.
That.
All right, any questions or comments on that item? Moving on to old business, we have our next 3 Board of Education meetings is at 7 o'clock on September 25th, October 9th, and October 23rd. New business, we've had some new business come up today, and we couldn't get it on the agenda, so we need to get it on a future agenda. And I need just a sensing from the board is if you'd like to have like a telephone conference call next week, or you want to put it off 2 weeks to where you can get all the information and we can discuss it, because one of our mowers is broken down and it's going to cost a little over $11,000 to replace. And if we wait 2 weeks, there's going to be some really long grass. So I need to know if you would rather have it on 2 weeks from now and just wait and get all the information.
I missed what broke.
One of our mowers.
Oh, a mower, okay.
One of our
Sorry, I
lawnmowers,
missed
and it's
the
over
word. How many do we have?
$10,000. How many do we have? Oh, Fernando left.
We have 3.
3.
But this
We
is the
replaced
small
one not long ago, and
this is the small one, and we don't have another one that would work.
And we don't want to do much discussion tonight because it's not on the agenda, but I was wondering if we could create a special phone board meeting, like maybe Tuesday.
I'd like to create a meeting as soon as possible and is convenient for everybody.
Is that okay with everyone?
That's fine
All right,
with me.
that way
That's
we
fine.
can get on with mowing grass. Okay, great. And other new business, back to school nights for CELC tomorrow night. Some of us will be over saying goodbye to Oliver Chi, the city manager. Some of us will be over at Canyon Early Learning Center. And Santa Fe's Computer Science Magnet School is September 19th for their back to school night. Want everybody to remember, and flyers will be coming out shortly. Some beautiful flyers that we've got, but we'd like to get everybody over to Monrovia High School on October 16th for our State of the Schools address, and we're looking for, we haven't had one for a while. Ritz is holding that flyer up, so please put it on your calendar. October 16th in the evening, we'll be over at Monrovia High School talking about the great things that are going on and what the status of our schools are. Is there any other new business?
I actually had something, I'm sorry I wanted to say it in the board report, but we got confused over who was going to mention it. So I'll mention, it's not a board initiative, but the city of Monrovia is paying some great attention to a challenging street corner, Mayflower and Olive, near Monroe Elementary School. And it's a challenging corner. The street is shaped, it's got a dogleg shape, and it's very dangerous for pedestrians, and it's very frustrating for people who are driving, and the city is addressing that issue. And they have some ideas, and they are going to meet with community members this Saturday, September 14th at 10 a.m. at Monroe Elementary Cafeteria. This is not a board initiative, but the superintendent has allowed the meeting to take place at the facility, and we're reaching out to all of the community and ask them to please be there. for this meeting because it will make great impact on a lot of people in that area and traveling through that area. So appreciate the time that you've given me tonight to talk about that. And it's not a board initiative, so.
But be there.
But let's.
If you're interested in the parking.
I have one question. Is this a board initiative?
I'm not sure if it's a board initiative. Is this a board
wanna be clear.
initiative? I'm not sure.
And would you mind repeating one time that date and time and
It's
location?
this Saturday, which is the 14th. Am I correct that it's the 14th? Yes. It is the 14th. It's at 10 o'clock a.m. in Monroe Elementary Cafeteria.
All right, be there.
Be there. Thank you.
All right. With that, we will adjourn tonight's meeting, Board of Education open session meeting at 8:28.